And that is just a simple question. Has NXT, or in this case NXT 2.0, gotten to the point of hurting, got to a little 4-year-old version movie reference right there, sorry. If you get that, kudos. If you don't, go watch the 4-year-old version, please. But is NXT currently hurting the main roster? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the current main roster on Raw and SmackDown, the younger stars, you got Austin Theory, you got Dominic Mysterio at 24, you got Otis at 27, and everybody else is pretty much in their 30s. And I'm not trying to age shame here. I'm not. It's just, and really, in the end all be all, the number itself does not matter in wrestling. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, or 40 when it comes to programming or entertainment. If you're good enough, you're going to rise to the top and you're going to make it. It doesn't matter. You can ask DDP, who became a main eventer and a world champion for WCW in his 40s. It doesn't really matter. All I'm saying is, there is a program age. There is a wrestling age. And that is the number of years that you've been on TV. And the number of years you've been in the main event scene. For example, Brock Lesnar is old for the main event scene. He's been in the main event scene since 2002. Off and on, yes, but since 2002. It's been almost 20 years of Brock Lesnar in the main event scene. Compare that to Drew McIntyre, who has been in the main event scene for almost 2 years. You know, you weigh those options, and I believe there's only about 5 to 10 years difference between the two men. So that's what I'm referring to. And then you look at the main roster, and you got guys that are debuting on Raw and SmackDown at 28, at 30, at 32, at 34. And guess what? Unless you give them a great storyline, a great character, which, like I said, and I keep saying, it's not going to happen anytime soon with WWE Creative right now. But unless you do that, unless you push them to the moon, you're not going to get there until 2, 3, or 5 years down the line if they're consistent and they're still employed by WWE. Whereas in the past, you had somebody like Randy Orton, legend in the business right now. Without a shadow of a doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer. He will lead his class. No shadow of a doubt there. And if he doesn't, then millions of fans around the world will just attack WWE on social media for the fact of not having him lead his own class in the future. But Randy Orton made his debut on TV at 22. Became a world champion by 24. And was a bona fide main eventer and a household name by the time he was 28, 29. And he's been a main eventer, a reliable top guy for WWE for the past 12 to 15 years. We talk about a guy like John Cena, the face that runs the place, or at least he was. He made his debut, I believe, at 24. With that ruthless aggression slap heard around the world at that time in 2002 against Kurt Angle. He was WWE champion by 27, and he was a face of the company by 28. And he is one of the biggest names in professional wrestling history. And he has provided some of the best matches. We've got, look at in the past, Shawn Michaels. And Kurt Angle, they both debuted in their early years. Bret Hart, the same thing. They both debuted in their early years, and over the years, as the years passed, we saw them grow their craft, grow their strength, their prowess in the middle of that ring, year in, year out, and we could see that progress on main roster, on WWE's programming year in and year out, and that is something that we are currently not getting with WWE, and it's all because of NXT. And I don't hate NXT. I'm not saying that it's bad, inherently bad. It's a great way to train them. It's a great way to prepare them. But in my mind, fine, bring him to NXT, give him 3 to 6 months in the developmental show, in the developmental programming, teaching them about the hard camera, teach them about how to work the crowd and mannerisms and present their character, and then throw them on WWE TV. And if they can make it with what they're given, then they are there to stay. You got guys like Tommaso Ciampa, current NXT champion, and Johnny Gargano, who should have been a part of the main roster, I don't know, about 3 to 4 years ago. But instead, right now, they're being used, and maybe Johnny Gargano might have way too little time left, according to current contract negotiations. But they've been used to elevate younger stars, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how they are supposed to be used. But if you consider NXT to be the developmental brand, then you should not have guys who are top stars who could definitely make it on the main roster still on that show, still stuck in the same spot. I'm hoping that after WrestleMania season, next year, after Dallas, we're able to see guys like Braun Breaker, fantastic star. I watch NXT at this point, hoping to watch his segment, just biding my time. Okay, the show started. When is Braun Breaker gonna make his appearance on this show? A promo, a match, it doesn't matter. I want this guy who just sounds so much like Scott Steiner. Oof, like so much. But I want this. I want to see this guy, what he is able to do. And he's just 23 years old. 24, I believe. 23, 24, in that age range. I want to see what he is able to do on the main roster. You got, like, Carmelo Hayes. You got Cameron Grimes. Tony D'Angelo. That character, man. I love it. I love that character. I love that accent that he's bringing to the show. All these guys, they should be a part of the main roster after WrestleMania season. Give us these younger guys. And I promise you, it'll be something different, it'll be something entertaining, and WWE fans will tune in. But as far as I'm concerned, NXT went from being a developmental brand where you train superstars and prepare them for the main roster to being its own pseudo third brand that WWE doesn't really want to acknowledge, but they really don't want to hurt that show, because if the top stars leave that show, then fans won't stick around. So they've got to figure that out. But until then, WWE is going to be really lacking in the talent department. And again, releases suck, especially right before the holidays. But it also gives all these stars that were given their release papers opportunities to work and to grow other companies, grow their craft, grow their name for other companies in the future to come. And that is still something very exciting to me. And if you ask me, AEW's future is full of releases. Believe me when I say that. Their roster is getting bloated. It's getting too big. And look no further than their Dark and Elevation shows, which go past 2 hours at some point, with 15 to 20 matches in some of them on some of those shows. At one point, very soon, hopefully after the holidays, AEW will at one point have to make some very hard decisions and release some of their stars. And I just want to know if the IWC will react in the same way, in the same manner as they have done with WWE. Because like I said, this is a business, and these are decisions that need to be made.